Hello, welcome to the More Cheese Less Whiskers.com live podcast. My name is Dean Jackson, and today we're talking with Jill Harrington, just outside of Williamsburg, Virginia, and we had a wonderful conversation. Jill wrote a book several years ago called The Lupus Recovery Diet. It was very successful. She's helped lots of people all over, and her passion is really spreading the word and helping people adopt a whole foods, plant-based diet nutrition program. And we had a really good conversation about, the target audience of people who need and want to reverse heart disease, that she's got a really great program that can help people with that. When I asked her, what would you do? What's the result that you can get for people? And so we had a whole conversation about it not being about just the information, but about the execution, the implementation of that information. And rather than taking it broad to, all over, we kind of narrowed the focus to her local area. And you'll see how the conversation unfolded, but this is really about looking at her pilot project as the prototype for duplicating programs like it all over the country. And I think you're going to enjoy, especially if you have something that could be packaged as a program to get a result and delivered in a localized market. This is a perfect kind of syndication opportunity. So I think you'll enjoy this episode.
Jill Harrington.
Good morning, Dean Jackson.
Good morning to you. Well, I've been looking forward to this.
Well, great. So have I. I've been listening to 2 podcasts a day and reading DNA Breakthrough again and again. And so I will tell you,
okay.
I'm looking forward to your calm, smooth voice that takes all this jumble in my head and makes some sense out of it.
I love it. Well,
so I'm very appreciative to be here.
I'm excited that you're here. So this is kind of cool because you and I have had some conversations in our email mastery program.
Right.
And so this is a chance for us to kind of really focus on something just for you here. So I think normally I don't know anything about what somebody's up to when we start one of these podcasts. So it'd be a good thing for you to kind of give some background and then what you want to focus on today.
Okay. Back in 95, I wrote a book called The Lupus Recovery Diet. Wasn't a writer. I totally endorse your 90-minute book because it took me 3 years to write it. But in the meantime, I was living in San Francisco, internet marketing, or internet was just big, and so I learned about direct response marketing, internet marketing. So while I dragged my feet on writing the book, I learned a lot about marketing. So I ended up promoting it initially or releasing it as an ebook just because I wasn't sure if anyone would want it. So used Google pay-per-click. I'll never forget, put it up one night, 9 o'clock. Next morning, 5 a.m., I had 2 orders.
That's awesome, isn't it?
Oh, my gosh.
What year was this? What year was this?
Excuse me, not 95, 2004, end of 2004.
2004, yeah. That is so great.
Right.
I mean, I remember I remember that thing because I did, in 1998, I wrote an ebook with a marriage counselor called Stop Your Divorce. And I remember putting that up online and getting the first sales, and then literally we've had sales every day for 20 years on that book, and it's just it's such an amazing thing.
So that's interesting. Do you still advertise it on pay-per-click?
It's no, not on pay-per-click. I mean, when we started out on pay-per-click, I could get the word divorce and all these things for 10 cents because that was literally one of the first books, one of the first ebooks that wasn't about how to make money selling ebooks. It was like a real book about a real thing. And that was really what got me started into then teaching people about marketing, because I'd had this whole situation with that book. So I did a class called How to Write, Publish, and Sell a Money-Making Ebook around 2000 or 2001. And so, out at Marie Forleo, had her in that class, and we worked on her book, How to Make Every Man Want You. And then that was her start. That was her whole introduction into internet marketing. And then out of that same model, my friend Eben Pagan, he did his book, Double Your Dating. And that turned into an amazing empire. But those days of being able to get 10-cent clicks and sell a $79 ebook, at a profit on pay-per-click are gone, but we have such a great organic reach on that it's still out there and sells every day. So
great, yeah. I didn't keep my organic reach up. It sold for many years, and still, I'll get a couple sales a week or something. But
but you know what? You've got your profit activator number one. Select a single target market. The Lupus Recovery Diet. And what a great title. I mean, it does what it says right there.
Here's the problem that I found with that target market. I overcame lupus, so that's why I wrote that book. But many people with lupus are so sick. A lot of them aren't working, don't have much money, or are too sick to even do anything about it. And I felt a little uncomfortable guiding many people other than just the pure food preparation. So on the one hand, I was excited because it was targeted and therefore were able to reach the people, but then didn't really see, looking back now, looking at forks over knives. And you're the perfect person to talk to about this because I know, for one thing, somehow you know everything about every topic. But I know that you know about plant-based type of things because we've had brief discussions on that. So looking back now, I probably should have gone ahead and done an online, culinary skills course or plant-based cooking course. And then it started expanded to other markets. But instead, I kept trying to make that one work. So here, I'd say in the last year or so, I decided that I would try some local classes and workshops. I thought that I was just kind of over the online thing. It was changing so much, and you would understand Facebook, and then they would change the next day. And so I'm like, okay, forget the online stuff. I'm just going to do something local. So I'm focusing on what that target market should be. And like you, by the way, I'm very much like you. We probably have the same Colby index. I didn't actually do mine, but I read it. In that, I have an idea a minute. And if you, I have friends who'll call me and say, okay, I've got this problem. And so they'll describe the whole thing, and it's easy for me to just cut in and say, this is what you do. Not so easy for myself, but easy for other people, people or companies. Like I have one marketing client. I have a couple of business clients, and we just have a standing every other week call where he'll call and talk about what marketing stuff's going on, and I'll say this, and off he goes and does it. It's wonderful. I give him homework, he does it. I don't have to do it. And so I've got this, the first target market potential I came up with was people with heart disease. So high blood pressure, cholesterol, because that is scientifically proved. A plant-based diet has been, shown in studies, and there are many, many books on it, that it does work. It is very effective.
Yeah.
That's something that
reversing.
I pretty confidently, yes.
That's the word they
right.
use, reversing it, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Correct.
And that's so, maybe we had talked about Joel Kahn, Dr. Joel Kahn, who wrote a book called, which I loved. The title is Dead Executives Don't Get Bonuses.
That's great.
Which was really targeted to like,
great.
Yeah, to these, high risk, that's the thing, right? Like right in the profile, the profile, guys in their 50s, hard charging executives who have put career first, taken, not taking care of their health, and then reach a point where now they really need to get some perspective on it,
Right.
So that's awesome. So certainly there's.
Well, that's just one of them, though.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at it, and that's what I always start with is let's begin with the end in mind, right? So whenever I'm looking at this, I look at Profit Activated 5, which is, the dream come true. Yeah. What would be a dream come true experience that you could provide for somebody? What's the result? What's the thing that you could do if you were only going to get paid if they get this result? What would be the result that with certainty that you can deliver?
Okay, and here's the ironic thing in this segment is I have two answers to that. The first answer of their dream come true would be I give them a pill and they can continue to eat and drink and do anything they want and they're cured. Okay, so that's what they really want.
Yes.
The other answer is, what would I do if I only got paid based on results? I would probably have them in a live-in environment for 7 to 10 days where everything is done for them. They're taught how to eat, get to taste the food, have dietitians talk to them, have an MD who, oversees them. So by the time they leave, they are, they've seen some results. They've seen their blood pressure drop. They've seen their cholesterol drop, even in that short period of time. They found out, hey, this food doesn't taste so bad, met other people who were doing it. So, for example, there are already a few like those in existence. Dr. McDougall has a program he's done for years. It's very successful.
Dean Ornish.
And Dean Ornish. His is not a live-in.
Well, did you read Change or Die? It's a wonderful book.
Ornish?
That I don't know. He didn't write the book, but he was featured in the book. And the book is not per se just about health. It's about this idea of change. And one of the things that they take, the premise of the book, and this is going to be really relevant to our conversation here, that the premise of the book is, if your life depended on it, could you make a change? Right. And the odds are, just based on all the evidence, the odds are no, that you can't make a change. Right. That's the reality of what we're dealing with here. And in order to prove that, they took different situations where it literally is life or death, whether you make a change. And one of them is cardiac patients who have just had bypass surgery. That you look at it right there, that they've come to the point where they've had a heart attack, they've had a bypass, their doctor tells them, you got to change or you're going to die, basically, right? That's the thing. And that they look at those things, and 1 year later, 1 year after bypass surgery, some crazy number, like 80+% of people have not made any lifestyle changes in the way that they live their life. They're back to exactly what they were doing that got them there. And in fact, some of them view the bypass as their free pass for, I've got a whole new thing. It took me 20 years to clog up my arteries last time.
Right.
I got 20 more years to go now, And so
right.
what Dean did was he went to Mutual of Omaha, I think it was, one of the insurance agencies, and got them to agree to give him a group of people to run through a program that bypass surgeries cost about $100,000 on average, what it was back when that book was written,
Right.
And his program was like $36,000 or something per patient to run somebody through. And the idea was that they would take people who were eligible for bypass surgery that the insurance company would have paid for and divert them into this program and see what happens. So he took a group of people, and the first thing they did is they sequestered them for 30 days into a program where they controlled every calorie that went in their body. They did all of the things like they did talking about it, education. They did meditation. They did yoga. They did all a holistic, total view of the change, right, for 30 days. And and I'm going from memory. It's been a long time, so forgive me. I'm close, but I maybe not exactly on. But the average outcome that they had was a 28-pound weight loss in that period of time, a reduction in their cholesterol, all the markers of their blood work certainly improved. People who had angina that were having 6 angina attacks a day, basically, were reduced by 93%. They, so it was really kind of like a magical outcome. And then at the end of 30 days, they sent them home, but they gave them at home access to a personal trainer, to yoga classes, to talk, group therapy, and a nutritionist. So they had all of that access for a year.
And how was the access provided? Like they had to come back to them? It wasn't on the phone or anything?
They sent, it was, in their environment at home. They had access to these things, to a personal trainer, to all these things. And for 1 year. And then they studied again at 3 years. Something like 77% of the people who went through that program had maintained the lifestyle changes that they made in the program. Because they got them through all of the phases of the actual change, like where it was, what he says, if you're going to make change, the thing to do is to make radical sweeping change instantly rather than gradual, trying harder change. Because if you're going to change, you may as well change it 100% right now, and like pulling off the Band-Aid kind of thing right now. Because that's what happens, is that gets you immediate results compared to where the pain is not that much greater than, the withdrawal or the suffering of making this sweeping good for you change that is going to have the bigger impact than making gradual change where you're slowly eliminating stuff enough that it bothers you that you're eliminating stuff, but you're not making enough change to make it, like the results are not good enough to make it dramatic. And so that was really kind of fascinating to me, because I think we're entering a point where we as a society, in America anyway, are certainly becoming more educated that whole food, plant-based diets are better than the standard American diet,
Right.
So we all know it.
It has changed a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people don't admit it, but enough are starting to see it. Yeah. Apparently, like 38 years ago, there was one vegetarian cookbook. And now, you can't even count them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you this real quick, when you're talking about the immediate change, that's what it took for me, because I had been educated that this whole foods, plant-based diet would help, blah, blah, blah. I listened to cassette tapes for like a year, but I gave up the things that were easy to give up. Meat, I didn't care about that. Cheese, I kept eating Diet Coke, blah, blah. Finally, it got bad enough. I heard enough that I decided to do a water-only fast, which is what these same doctors promoted. So I flew out to California, 14 days.
Wow.
And by the time I got there, because I had to fly across the country, take a cab, whatever, by the time I got there, I couldn't even walk out the front door.
Right.
No. No, I was still eating. They had to eat raw food for 3 days before. No, I was not hungry. I didn't even care if I lived, to tell you the truth. I felt I had in so much pain. I had no energy, fell into bed, just didn't even care. I wasn't hungry at all because I was so sick. By the third day, I'm like, oh my God, I feel good. By the seventh day, no joint pains. I'd had joint pain for 3 years.
Wow.
None.
Yeah.
So, and it was easy to continue to 14. Now, different things happened, like I'd get a sore throat, my sinuses would stuff up. It was just the body clearing stuff out.
Yeah.
So so it took me 3 years to hear it and experiment with it, but that I then came home a believer. Then it was easy to stick with it. And that fasting, matter of fact, that's my back end product in my book, is that fasting center. They've had 600 or 700 people go who've read my book. It's my back end product, but I don't make any money from it.
Right. Imagine if you had a fasting center. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, of course, which is a complicated thing to have, so it has been replicated. And so the guy who runs it wants to do some, studies to publish and that kind of thing. But so it totally ties in with what you're saying here. For me, it took, and that's what McDougall does too. Basically, it's a 10-day, and people are totally what's the word? They're on board before they even go there, because he's got so many books and recipes, and somebody probably told him about it. And then Ornish, now I don't know if you know this, Dean Ornish has started something, I don't know how recent it is, but I live in the Tidewater kind of area, and Dean Ornish now sells a program to medical professionals. So Centera Hospital here, which is a large hospital system, I have no idea how much it costs. My guess is a lot. And they have to send their team up to San Francisco, and they're trained for either a week or 2 weeks, go through the whole program. And so now they offer a 12-week, it's the Ornish program, but it's 12 weeks, twice a week for, is it 12? Yeah, that doesn't sound right, but I guess it's right. 2 times a week for 12 weeks, and it's 4 hours, 1 hour of exercise, 1 hour of relaxation and yoga, 1 hour of lunch and learn, and 1 hour of kind of group support therapy kind of thing. It's $10,000. Yeah.
And how long is it?
12 weeks.
12 weeks, yeah.
But it's not in-house. So, it'd be interesting to see. It's probably as close as he could get without locking people up for 30 days.
Right.
And that's one thing before I even heard about that, is I was thinking maybe, a workshop or classes, and then have people become part of a weekly thing where every week they come to, 2-hour lunch, dinner, where they get a little more education and are fed, again, taught how to make things. So it's not the same as a live-in, and then it provides some continuity too. different people all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I look at it, and so if we're going and describing that, then the outcome that you could deliver for somebody, how would you describe it? What would be the result?
Oh, the outcome? You don't die.
Okay, no.
You don't.
So no dying.
You don't die.
That's good.
No dying. You feel fantastic. You lose weight. You have more energy than you've had in years, and your blood pressure either reduces or normalizes. Your cholesterol gets to the level. I hesitate a little bit because most people, you could get it down because it takes your cholesterol level under 150 to not have a heart attack or a stroke, where most people think 200, and that's just 200 is normal level, but people have heart attacks and strokes all the time there. So there'd be markers that you could measure, and the one that my brother always tells me that most people care about anyway, and that's losing weight. Effortless.
Right.
Like you could still eat lots of food and feel full, but by cutting out oil and saturated fat and whatever. So that's the thing. See, with autoimmune, the results aren't as predictive because so many people are at different levels. Some it's their kidney involved, whatever. But with heart disease, it's pretty predictable, just depending on the amount of damage they already have in their arteries.
And so would your suggestions or protocol be any different with somebody with diabetes versus heart disease, for instance?
Only a tiny bit. Really, no, the food is the same, but there'd be a little bit more guidance up front because a lot of diabetics think that it's because of, or not just diabetics, doctors think it's because of the sugar is the problem, but it's actually the fat that gets in the muscles that prevents the insulin from being able to deposit the sugar into, which is what you run on, the glucose into the cell. So once you stop eating fat, the added fats, oils, saturated fat, the body within a fairly short period of time starts eating up that fat that's in the muscles, clears it out. And so then they'll discover, oh, I can eat carbs. Carbs aren't the problem. It's the fat that was preventing the cells. So just in the beginning, it would take a little more guidance to adjust their insulin levels as, things happen quickly. But the protocol really would be the same.
Okay. So when you look at it, that you look at those two things, are there any other lupus for sure was the interesting thing about those ones is that they're diagnosis based,
right.
That somebody, that somebody has been diagnosed with lupus, and it's been a mystery up until they've gotten that diagnosis. And heart disease, not really. It's like, you almost can't be surprised by that in a way, right? Because we have all, we've seen this coming kind of thing. Same with diabetes and the same with, you look at it's almost like lung cancer in most cases, right? Like it's people who smoke their whole lives and then get diagnosed with lung cancer, and it's surprising. It's not, it.
Right, exactly. But you'd be surprised. The conversations I've had over the past, because I went total vegan in 95. So what is that? I don't even know, a lot of years. So I've had a lot of conversations over the years, and most people still with heart disease will tell me that it's their genetics. That, what they eat doesn't have anything to do with it. Right. My dad died early of a heart attack.
My granddaddy had it.
Right. So I hear what you're saying, but it's still a little bit of, not a little bit, it's still, it gets back to how desperate do you feel?
I think that's really what the thing is, right? Is that there's some amount of it that is, they're waiting until I'm getting away with it, kind of thing, in a way, right?
Right.
Yeah. So,
and with heart attacks, by the way, 50% of them are sudden with no warning. So for people who say, I'll make changes once it happens, if you're in the 50%, you're not going to have a second chance. So you're not going to see your grandkids grow up. You just retired. All that working you did.
Yeah. Do you know who Kevin Smith is? The film. So he's a movie director.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he had just had a heart attack a couple of weeks ago.
I did see that. Right.
But he had lost 85 pounds over the last 18 months. From cutting out sugar and exercising and stuff, and then had the heart attack. And it's kind of like, wow. So
was he on a ketogenic diet?
I don't know what he's done, but he's now on he's vegan now. Which, I guess that's the thing.
Right.
So, okay. So if the case is then that you can take somebody, Jill, where do you live? I've forgotten where you live.
Right. I live near Williamsburg, Virginia, which is near Richmond, Virginia.
Yep.
But the only I hesitate because the only hesitation is I'm here because my family's close by, but this is not necessarily my. I'd really rather live in a resort place where I can ride my bike, tennis, and golf, and the beach. So, part of me hesitates too much about doing. But you got to start where you are. I would love it to be, transportable or whatever for when I'm down there to Florida with you.
Perfect. Perfect.
But Richmond is a large enough area. There's actually a heart surgeon in Richmond who's vegan, and I know of 3 because I was thinking I might, put a cardiologist on the team.
Well, that's really what I was going to say is. You think about who are the people who are most likely here. It's like it would be really great if you have this outcome that you can create for somebody, and you can package it in a way that it is prescribable, almost, right? Like if somebody said, prescribe this for you for. Whether it's 30 days or 60 days or 90 days or whatever it is. How long would you envision a program with somebody?
Are we locking them up or are we?
I mean.
Locking them up, of course, is a much bigger commitment. And see, we laugh about that because I've been to the fasting center a few times since then. And in subsequent times, I was hungry, actually, for the first 3 days, and hunger goes away. And so it's a big joke there about, people pay us to lock them up and not feed them. But, of course, that's a bigger commitment is having a facility.
It's so funny that the Joe Polish and I just did a podcast yesterday with Benjamin Hardy, who just wrote a book called Willpower Doesn't Work. And, one of the things that he's talking about in the book is that environment kind of trumps everything. Environment is really what shapes everything. And I don't think there's anybody that would deny if we took you and locked you up, like you said, and controlled every calorie that went in your body and got you up and moving and doing all the things, if you were kind of forced into it, that it would be inevitable that you have an improvement over 30 days or 60 days or 90 days or even 7 days, and so that premise of helping that happen, anything that you can do that would, sort of facilitate that the protocol being followed would be a win, you know?
Right.
It just feels like that's the biggest thing, you know? It's like
exactly. Because I will tell you that people they'll say, well, how about this? You know, because again, over the years since the book has been out, I used to, if somebody would, because people didn't like to put their credit cards online back then, they would call to order, and sometimes I'd end up talking to them for an hour. And so it would be, well, how about just a little of this, and how about just a little of that? And it's all those things that add up, right?
Yeah.
And so it's really no oil, and that means so much, no oil.
There's an amazing difference between being 100% committed to something and 98% committed to something.
Right.
That it's always that 2% is going to require 98% of the willpower, you know? That's really the thing. If you, I said to Ben, you know, in the book, I read the whole book on the way out to Phoenix a couple of weeks ago. I got an advance copy. It's out now, though. It's out wherever books are sold. Willpower Doesn't Work, Benjamin Hardy. Okay. But right in the first couple of pages, it says, to be frank, willpower is for people who haven't decided what they actually want in their lives. If you're required to exert willpower to do something, there's an obvious internal conflict. And that's really, you know, it's really interesting that for some people, the why is not big enough, you know, or the why hasn't overtaken their internal desire for whatever the alternative is, you know.
Right.
But all of that can even be trumped by environment, you know, by really establishing the right environment. I wonder, like, I look 3 steps ahead of all of this, Jill, and I think that as the education is coming, I think people know what to do and want to do it, but it gets lost in the execution of it, you know?
Right.
And I think that the big wins, the real transformations in this are going to come in making it more convenient to eat healthily than to not. You know, I mentioned to Ben, there was an article in the New York Times a couple of weeks ago called The Tyranny of Convenience. And it basically talks about how convenience is the most underrated power in the world, you know, that it really dictates everything. You know, it rules everything that we do, that even overcoming our preferences, you know, or our other desires. I was sharing with Ben that I've been, you know, I've been surrounding in my environment with fruit and with healthy food choices that I would have to trip over them to go make another choice, you know, and that it's just easier to eat the fruit than it is to go and get something that's not fruit, you know, that I would have to get I'd have to go out of the house because I've cleared it out of the house, you know, so it's not in the environment. And what is in the environment is an immediate solution to the craving or the you know, the desire for something, you know? Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same concept as being locked up, and that's to have someone come in your house and clear everything else, which when you have children can be hard to do. Because as healthy as I eat, if somebody puts a bowl of potato chips, salted potato chips in front of me, it takes a lot not to eat them. So if they're in my house, I'm gonna eat some of them. So they just never come in. You know, it's just But you asked me, you know, ideal for me, I guess. Again, the ideal is to lock them up, but at the moment, I don't think that's very practical. I mean, just because I'm, build a base and whatever first. So I would say probably do a class that's maybe like a weekend class. Of course, that might be too much for some people in the beginning. It's that cross between what do I want to do with them and what do they want. I do think the ongoing, because I don't know if you know Dr. Esselstyn.
I do.
From the Cleveland Clinic.
I don't know. I don't know him. I know.
Yeah,
that. I know
you know of him. Yeah. Because what he did years ago is, he went to a cardiologist and said, I want to try something. Give me some people that you can't have any more stents and there's nothing else you can do for them. And so I'm not sure he did an education first, but he and his wife had them to their house every week for a potluck.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he would do some education, and they all stuck with it. And again, they'd been told to prepare themselves for death. So they did have a pretty big why.
Right.
And a few people that left the program, did die, and everyone who stayed with the program not only lived, but eventually they saw, that was one of the first times that they saw actual reversal of the artery damage, that the body can heal it, once you get out of its way.
Wow. Isn't that amazing?
So that's why I came up with that weekly thing for two reasons. Mm-hmm. One, for the ideal business for me is you're not coming up with new people every time, but that, stick with them. Plus, it's fun to see them get better. And, now they start coming loving the food instead of you having to, force it on them. So the question would be what to do up front. Now, there's another group that I just love, Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. Do you know them?
I
Neil
do
Bernard,
not.
Dr. Neil Bernard.
Fabulous. Did he write the book, How Not to Die? Or is that...
No, that's Michael Greger.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. No, Neil Bernard helped. They got animal testing out of medical schools. Took them 20 years to do it. But then combined with that, they promote a plant-based diet for health. Mm-hmm. And they've opened a clinic not too long ago up in Washington, D.C. And I learned the other day what their model is. So they come in and talk with the doctor. The doctor sees them for about 15 minutes, shows them a little chart on what the problem is with diabetes, and then turns them over to a nutritionist who works with them for about an hour, talk about their favorite foods, and comes up with a menu plan for them. And then, because they're a nonprofit, they then can come back every week free to a lunch and learn. So that's their continued, support there.
Right.
So that's kind of another model. So I like the model of continuing to grow a community. And because, see, that also, like, I'm not very socially popular because people don't know what to feed me. Right. Because I'm not even just regular vegan because of the autoimmune stuff, no oil, no wheat. I'm fun, but I'm not fun to feed. So
right.
right. I don't get asked out a lot. And so this could become, the social support and fun too. Like, we could have outdoor events and kayaking trips, all kinds of things where the food is all food that they can eat, and maybe dinner parties, dances, it could be all kinds of fun stuff. That,
right.
Of people of like mind. So the biggest question is how much would it take up front? Mm-hmm.
What's the population of Williamsburg?
Williamsburg is pretty small, but we probably ought to talk Richmond, really, because Richmond's about, I think it's about 1 million.
Oh, wow. Okay. But how big is Williamsburg? Just for...
Williamsburg, if I had to guess, because I've only moved down to this area recently, I actually live in Gloucester, which is a little county nearby, but Williamsburg is probably 35,000 people. Newport News is near there, and that's bigger. And then Virginia Beach and Norfolk are on the other side of the tunnel. But since Centera has already got that program down there, I would think I'd stay in an area where they're not, which is probably
right. I'm just thinking about like the small. How I always think is I think in the small units and think what that would look like, to syndicate kind of thing, So I look at
Got it.
Right. So I look at it where if I take the minimum viable market, like if you say, Williamsburg is 35,000, I'm sure there are plenty of people in Williamsburg that are that would love to lose weight and reverse heart disease. Is there?
Actually, the other good thing about Williamsburg is a lot of retirees move there. A lot of retirees who have some money. There's some nice, retirement communities and nice housing developments. And I think my message to them would be, hey, get healthier than your kids. I mean, you don't want to die now that you've done all this work and everything. Now it's time to feel young again. So actually, you're right. I shouldn't dismiss Williamsburg. It's probably an excellent market.
Right, because now you look back on this as the Williamsburg experiment, I mean, that's really what it is. That what if all of a sudden you were able to make Williamsburg the lowest incidence of heart disease in the country,
Wow.
You start to think about that as a mission, that you become that thing, and you're biting off enough that you can have an impact, and that's really, I think that's an important piece, that it becomes affordable. How big? Do you have a list right now? Do you have a way? Do you communicate to people? How many?
I don't locally, but here's what the plan is, and that's to go out and do talks to at places that have lists and have them promote the talk and then build the list from there. I've got a list still active, probably about 1,000 who actually would talk to me, respond back from the lupus thing, but they're all across the country.
So I think, you kind of hit the nail on the head earlier when, you said it took you 3 years to write your first book. And the answer would be a 90-minute book that has a title that is the manifesto for what we're talking about, to really think about that and think about it from the other way, from both sides. Think about it of spreading the book through Williamsburg and then doing the talk from there, right? Rather than, because it's easier to get people to say, I want that book, than it is to say, I want the information and and I have to, did you listen to the episode with Melton? They did the stem cell things, and so we talked about him doing a book as the lead as opposed to the workshops, and he shared with me that it was a big difference maker, because when you have the book to gather your audience, the only thing that has to be true for them is that they are attracted to the information that you're offering. They don't have to be attracted to the information and available next Tuesday and willing to come to a workshop, right? It's they just have to want that, what your promise is. And there's nothing like a book to trigger that. And so I look at it that, you took 3 years to write the book. And my question was, I bet you could have explained what was in the book to them in an hour, right? I mean, that's really the thing. That's what we look at is we're just packaging up the message that you would share with somebody if you had an hour of their undivided attention. Yeah, that's really what it is, right? That's really. So that's the way that we focus on that. And, I'm going through it right now I just launched a new book for our real estate agent division called Listing Agent Lifestyle. And and that's something that, is very attractive to the real estate community, because they want to be listing agents, and they're not used to hearing lifestyle associated with the real estate business. They're typically, it's usually considered to be counter to having a life,
Right.
So when they see I can be a listing agent and have a nice lifestyle, that's attractive, right? So I'm gathering up all of those people and then following it up with a podcast every week, right? In Profit Activator 3. So I look at, your opportunity here to kind of think about, Williamsburg as the test case kind of thing here for it, and to really kind of just look at it as if that's your whole universe right now, and that the goal is to identify people who are ideal candidates for what you're proposing, and then start a case study program or start a pilot project with the intention of documenting everything that you're doing and creating it in a way that it can be duplicated in Newport News, and it can be duplicated in Richmond, because I think that the idea of just a generalized, information-based program is really going to not be as effective as something that combines that education, which can all be done from Williamsburg, with some local support kind of thing,
Right.
Where there's a local community of service providers who are there to support this protocol for people, all the way from people and giving people the opportunity to whatever needs to be done, that they can come in and do those things. 2 years ago, I had someone come and stay with me for 30 days, and they prepared everything. It was all raw vegan, basically.
Wow.
And it was like the most amazing thing, because it was, the only thing I had to do was go from my mouth backwards. It was like the only thing I had to do was just put what was prepared for me into my mouth. I didn't have to make the decision on what that was going to be. I didn't have to go and source it or prepare it or plan it or any of that stuff. And it was really amazing, because I ended up, in that 30 days, I think it was 34 days or something like that, I lost 28 pounds.
Wow.
And felt great. And it was.
Do you like the food?
Yeah. It was evidence that the two things I had to get over, first of all, I'm in a world where, I know so many people in this health world, right? Like that are on my speed dial, all the best-selling health authors that that I have access to, right? And know them. And if I got them all in one room, it would be a fist fight almost, right? Like none of them agree with what any of the others say, right? It goes all the way from one end of this, of the raw vegan on one side to the keto or paleo on the other. And the world that I'm in is primarily paleo is the thing, and now keto is the new buzzword. It's the new thing.
Right.
But when
then they'll become my client. Once they do that for a while to lose weight, then they're going to have a heart attack. Then they're going to have to come to my classes and learn non-keto.
Right. Like, there's the thing, like, and I love these guys, but I mean, if, you hear Joel Kahn talking about, how he just finds it completely crazy to put butter in your coffee as that's a health thing, and so he's like, and I mean, but Dave Asprey, Bulletproof Coffee, I love Dave, and that's like, so all these things. But what I looked at was the one common intersection of all of them. There's nobody that argues that whole plant-based foods should be eliminated from your diet, right? It's all, they're looking at that one thing. That's the core that crosses over basically for all of them. And then they're just on other extremes that some of them are saying you should eliminate all the fat, and the others are saying you should eliminate all the carbs. And, it's kind of an interesting thing that nobody says you need to take it easy on the broccoli,
Right, right.
So what I had to overcome with the raw vegan program was just the volume of fruit, that you could eat, right? Like, you're always thinking, well, that's, that'll raise your blood sugar or whatever, which you find out that, well, that's kind of like natural fruit sugar is different than Twinkie sugar, Yeah.
Right.
And so that overcoming that, and the salads, which normally would be, a little more difficult because of course in the salad world, everybody's like, you got to take it easy on the dressing, right? Easy on that. But she would make these dressings that were raw vegan dressings mixed up in the Vitamix, I think it was Vitamix or Blendtec, whatever the fancy blender is. I have one of those now. And it should mix up, tomato and pepper and, or whatever, all these things that were completely just natural, and you could slather the salad in those, and it was really tasty,
Right.
Yeah. So it was really interesting how that protocol of being able to just have it done went such a long way,
Well, it's funny here recently
about how in Williamsburg I was thinking about how
Right.
in Williamsburg you could support people in that level, almost like building up this little syndicate of people who are, who are all
provide
supporting
different
each other, right? Like if you had is there an independent grocer that you get on the team, right? Like you're overcoming all the obstacles to, like, what's the official gym of the of this? Where am I going to go do yoga? Where am I going to learn about meditation? Where am I going to buy the produce and the groceries? And is there an advocate that can help you? Are there shopping hours that we're going to have? You're going to go shopping with somebody who can meet you at the grocery store on Saturday morning or whatever, and help do the meal prep for a period of time? Or is there somebody who can juice for you, or get all of the stuff? You just start to thinking about, it's not going to be, you're not at this stage testing the efficacy of your program. What you're doing is you're trying to make it followable, trying to increase systemize the use of it, the implementation.
Convenient, right? That word you used before, convenient, right?
Yeah. I would definitely you would be, it would be great for you to read that article. It's in the New York Times. I think if you just did a Google search on the tyranny of convenience.
Okay.
It was just a couple of weeks ago, but it really, it'll open your eyes to how true it actually is, And I think if you could focus on how to make that convenient, how to make it so that it's easy to do,
Right. I know it would require a lot of thought, but just off the top of your head, these, say, individual people, because that's what I wasn't quite sure, do the people just pay them directly, or are they like subcontractors for me?
Well, I think here's the thing, is that this is what it's about. This is what the working on the program is about, is to figure out first, like I would bet that right now you have 100% confidence that if we delivered somebody to you and they followed your protocol, like if you said if you could lock them up and do it, that you would, beyond any shadow of a doubt, create an outcome for them.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so when I look at that and you start to say, okay, that's just impractical, right? That's not going to be able to be the thing. When you look at it, what are the absolute must-dos, right, that have to happen in order for this to work out? And how can we work backwards from what would it take to make this happen? Is there a way that you could, in terms of, could somebody show up, at their house twice a week or something, with some delivery of something that is going to support them in all of this? Like when you look at all of the things that it would take to execute your program, and if you get it down to a standardized week sort of thing, that's probably what you're looking for, right? Like it's for 7 days, that there's enough variety in that you could loop back around and do it again, right? For 7 days. You're not going to get to where it needs to be, this day. And maybe it's 3 days. Maybe it's 72 hour,
And one thought just popped into my head, possibly go talk to some of these senior living places, and I don't mean nursing homes or whatever, but, senior living, who already have kitchens and staff and whatever. See if any of them are interested in, doing this as a project with me, because it would bring attention to their facility. Say they drop, I don't know if they want people to live longer, let's see. As long as they're paying them, I guess they do. You know what I'm saying? So that at that facility, now there's no heart disease or whatever.
Right. I mean, that would be amazing.
They might already have a gym and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you imagine if somebody bills themselves as the place where you come to get younger?
Whoa, I think we just hit it here.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of a cool thing, right? Like if that, and there's the thing where if you look at it, this is why I'm saying to package a protocol that can serve a localized community, because the real thing is it's going to require intervention. You need to be able to focus not on the education as much as the environment that supports using the education, Like you just feel bad for people, in places where they learn and they read and they know, but then they're just not in a supportive environment in their community that would support them in doing that, right? But if you make it that, and then you think about that protocol, you're absolutely right that if you start thinking, what if we partnered with an active adult community, that you had a pod or a plug-in that you could, put in there that makes it super easy for people to, take advantage of something. And that little execution module, that algorithm, that operating system is something that you could install as a feature or a offering of any sort of active adult community.
Right, all over.
Yeah, and then if you're showing that literally people could use that thing where it becomes, the Williamsburg project, or that. No, I mean, that there's the thing. There's no reason it can't be Williamsburg's got the advantage of being nationally recognized, right? I mean, it's
True.
A name brand. That like South Beach Diet, the Williamsburg protocol.
Right.
That kind of thing then could be licensable to active adult communities.
Right. I love that. What I really love about it is someone else would be doing all the
but imagine if you're live
and all that.
Yeah. Then you get to be, the head of all this live from Williamsburg. Here's the thing. And people make a pilgrimage to Williamsburg to learn the program and spread it to their active adult community,
Right. And I get to move to my resort area that has a senior living place, and they can come down there and learn it.
Why just one? You could travel. Why just one? You could travel around to the greatest active adult communities.
Oh, my God. I love this, Dean.
What a cool idea that is, actually.
Yeah. I love it. And like I say, we've got a bunch of them. I'm going to get their names and go talk to them. Then I just got to find an MD who will go along with all this, I think. I would like to have someone, talk to him in the beginning. I know there's one. He's 72, 73, still practicing cardiologist up in Richmond. Maybe I could talk him to come down to Williamsburg once a month or something, whatever.
Maybe that's it. But you just start to think about, this Williamsburg and what would it take to get a result for people? How could you create that Williamsburg is the most supportive environment in the country for reversing heart disease and growing younger,
And it will be very interesting to see, but on the one hand, it's a great place to do it because, like I say, I haven't been there very long, but it's small enough they pretty much feel people know everybody, everybody knows
and
everybody. There's not like 100 dry cleaners or anything. Yeah.
Right. And there's probably an independent grocer who would love to be involved in that.
I just saw a brand new one is opening, Earth Fair, I think it's called, which is a health food store that I've never heard of. I've got to look them up. I
just think this whole thing, it's like really, it's coming in. It's like, it's almost like thinking about the, are you familiar with Geek Squad? Do you know what that is? It's almost like this, right? That you're, no, I mean, I'm just saying that you're perfecting.
One of those cars, what can I put on the side of the car?
You're perfecting what this local health squad kind of thing could look like,
Right.
That becomes the prototype for what this could be nationally,
Yes. Yep, I'm picturing a bug in the shape of a heart or something, a Volkswagen bug, big old heart on it.
Pretty good, right?
We'll pull up to your doorstep and save your heart.
Yeah. So,
Dean, I love it.
What do you think?
Oh, I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
I can see it. And I mean, it makes me grin from ear to ear versus, oh my gosh, how am I going to do it? Because for that 10 or 12 years where I was working on the book and the website, it was all on my own.
Yeah.
I'm really tired of just working on my own,
Yeah. And you want to get in and
other
knowing
people
that,
involved in this.
Yeah. That's the thing, is getting involved, knowing that you're in there. That makes a big difference, I like it.
Right.
I like it a lot.
I do too. You're amazing. I know you hear it all the time, but you are. Just
it never grows old.
Things that come out of your brain are fabulous. What's that?
I said it never grows old, though.
Oh, good.
That's funny. Well, Jill,
I
loved the
Thank
conversation. I mean, I'm excited. I would love to have it, right here in my community. It would be fantastic, So let's make Winter Haven the second one that we can implement.
Exactly. We'll start it
there you go.
January. When it gets cold, I'll be right down.
Perfect. I love it.
All right. Well, I'll stay in touch because I talk to you every other week. So
that's exactly right. Okay. Thank you, Jill.
All right. Thank you. I'm getting to work.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
And there we have it. Now, that was a great conversation. I love towards the end when we really hit on it here that once you have a packaged up result getting protocol with some implementation assistance attached to it, you really have something that now that becomes your scale ready algorithm. You've heard me use those words before. And no matter what, if you're going to scale anything, it has to start with a one unit, one way to get a result for people. And so if you're in any kind of a situation where you have something that can help a very specific person get a result, and you have an aspiration to spread that, that's really the focus that we want to take, is getting your prototype ready, right? Getting the one unit of it ready to go. And when you have that then becomes the ability to now take that and scale it. And it can happen very quickly, but it's worth investing the time to get that algorithm right and then scaling. So, and you heard even in the conversation, it's so nice when you can get your hands involved in something, right? Where you can get on the ground, get into it with somebody, actually see the results and document everything as it's happening. So let me know if that's something that you have, because I always like to explore those. And that would be a perfect thing to talk about on an episode of More Cheese, Less Whiskers, which you can be part of if you just go to morecheeselesswhiskers.com and you can click on the Be a Guest link, and that will let me know that you would like to be a guest and we can talk about your business. So if you want to see where your business stacks up with the 8 profit activators that we talk about, I have a simple scorecard for you at profitactivatorscore.com. And you can go through online. Just takes a couple of minutes to go through the 8 questions, find the statement that best matches what your where you are on that, and the statement that indicates where you would like to be in that. And it'll give you insight into where the opportunity is and where the strengths are of your business right now. It kind of gives you a roadmap to run on. And when you go to profitactivatorscore.com, you can download a copy of our Breakthrough DNA book and the companion book that goes with the scorecard. So it's a nice place to start. profitactivatorscore.com. That's it for this week, and I will talk to you next time.